No, we're not too worried about last season. Last season's last season. So just moving forward, taking the next step this new year, just kind of keeping within the team and just kind of doing what we're doing and playing our game.
What do you see out of Miles Capers, that pass rush?
Yeah, they're great up front, well coached, a lot of talent up front, a lot of good discipline among their D line. It's going to be a good battle up front.
Against Georgia, your offense obviously was pretty stout. I mean, pass protection was great, penalties down, all those kinds of things. Did you guys across the board grade higher in that game than other games?
Yeah, I believe so, but I think more of it came with our preparation. We took matters into our own hands and just were really disciplined in practice, and even the extra practices we got during the bye week, just kind of working at each play and every little detail and just hammering away at those disciplined things like not jumping off sides, false starts, stuff like that, holdings, things like that. Just kind of like hammering it amongst ourselves, not necessarily the coaches hammering on us. Mm.
Apologize if you've been asked this previously, but I haven't heard it. Did you just kind of walk us through your return to 100% health after being knocked out of spring practice?
Yeah, we have a great, athletic training team here, and I'm extremely grateful for all that they did for me. Jeremy Gale just kind of like getting me through the motions day by day, and we're just stacking days just with my recovery and strengthening my foot. So kind of getting back onto the field, it was kind of like a progressive volume, like kind of direction that we were going in. So each day I was just kind of getting more and more reps, and that's how I finally progressed to 100%, but I feel great now.
Can you just kind of walk us through a timeline, like how you felt day one of fall camp, how you felt by the time y'all were scrimmaging, on to the beginning of the season?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you right now, if I don't feel 100%, I'm going to tell the trainers, and they're going to kind of put me in the best situation possible. So, it wasn't like to where I was going to lie and be like, yeah, I'm 100%, like I'm good to go, this and that. Like you got to be honest with yourself so you don't take one step forward and then end up taking 2 steps back. So you got to be really honest with yourself, have some humility to know that I'm not going to be 100% right now. So just kind of trust in the process and just kind of get back out there. But, like I said, we have a great training staff, and, they're going to give me whatever's best for me.
And at what point on the calendar were you telling yourself, I'm good to go, I'm 100%?
Day one, for sure. Yeah, I was for sure confident with myself and kind of things like that. But I also knew in the back of my mind, like, if something does act up, because that's kind of mindset you got to go in with. Like, I'm not going to go out here and feel pity for myself. So I'm going to go out there, give it my all. And then if something comes up, then I'm going to tell them, but I'm going to try my best to get out there.
So you had the recovery out of the way by the time y'all even started practice?
For the most part. Mm-hmm.
Last year, the schedule lined up kind of similar in that Vanderbilt was straight after Georgia, and same result on the front end. Obviously, you guys are hoping to flip the switch on the Vanderbilt game. What's been the biggest point of emphasis towards that goal, and maybe not reflecting on last year too much, but in terms of what you can pick up from the experience last year to get this time?
Yeah, like I said, I think last year we kind of had a little gaps in handling our success, and I think this year we're just kind of hammering on that and just kind of not worrying about it so much, just kind of moving on and going 1-0, like I said earlier, just kind of keep it going within worrying about ourselves and playing our game. So I think that's what the biggest step from last year to this year was.
You said gaps in handling success. What does that mean?
Yeah, just handling success, and just not getting a big head. Just because last year we ended up getting ranked number 1. So after that Georgia game, so just stuff like that, and just kind of taking that with the grain of salt. Just kind of, next game is most important.
How would you assess Kaden Proctor's ball catching ability and his playmaking ability, maybe?
Yeah, that dude's a baller. We implemented that play, and I was like, there's no way like Kaden Proctor's about to be flexed out and whatever, because we obviously needed him front, and he performed great in both areas, both out there, wide receiver 1, and then over here at left tackle. So he did great, but he's a baller.
I was going to ask, people are calling him wide receiver. He does block a lot. You guys want to adopt him into the tight end room, or what's there?
Shoot, I wouldn't mind. Another big body in there. Yeah, hell yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's the reaction when you actually see something like that on the field, especially in that game?
I think when I knew the play was going to be called, I just immediately, once I stepped on the sideline, I immediately turned around because I was like, yep, this is going to get thrown. This is going to happen right now. And as soon as Ty threw it out there, my jaw just dropped just because I knew everybody had confidence in KP to catch it. So it was just a matter of how many yards he was going to get. And once he just kept bowling through all the defenders, it was just like, oh my God, like he's going to get into the end zone. But yeah, it was kind of like a.
Was there some other crazy plays? I'm sure you guys practiced that, rep that quite a bit in practice. Were there any other moments in practice where he did something that was kind of, that stood out in memory? Or like, did he make a good catch? Did he ever, what was it like before, repping that play?
I mean, that was definitely one of the biggest like surprise plays that we had, just kind of like in the game plan. But I mean, for the most part, just seeing a big man like what is he, 6'7", 300 something pounds, like just seeing a big man like that move the way he can is just like. Just amazing to see, and it's just pretty crazy to see on a football field, just covering ground and kind of bowling through defenders like that, like we saw in the game. But that was mainly just kind of like the main things I saw, just kind of like the amazement at how well he can move.
What's the difference mindset-wise heading into this Vanderbilt game? Like, what did you learn? What are you doing differently than what you did last year?
Just hammering on the details and just kind of doing what we can as an offense. And I mean, defense is doing all they can on their defensive side, and just kind of worrying about ourselves. And just kind of keeping it within the team and just kind of like hammering away at what we need to hammer away at, and just seeing where areas that we may have missed on last year or stuff like that, just kind of going into this prep week, just kind of hammering away at those little things that we may need to work on a little bit more.
Hindsight's 20/20, but do you maybe regret the rat traps or the way that you guys approached it in terms of maybe treating them like they're a team that could be overlooked? Do you think that you provided some motivation maybe for them with that?
Last year or this year?
With the like Vanderbilt last year. Yeah, like do you think that maybe you guys provided some motivation by doing all that?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, people coming to play Alabama, we're going to get everybody's best shot. So, I mean, just kind of going into those games, we know that, and we know that we have a target on our back, especially being, I mean, when we were the number one team, just kind of everybody's trying to take out number one. So I'm sure that played some part in their motivation to go and play us.
This is the first game, kind of the response game after being, field stormed last year. Has that been brought up, like on the practice field of like we don't want to feel this again, like type thing, or how has that been brought up on the practice field?
That was more addressed at the beginning of the season, just kind of like going into our mindset at the beginning, just kind of like from day one, just kind of like we don't want to feel like this anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, from last year to this year, we're just really kind of hammering away at what we need to, and I mean, we're focusing on ourselves and improving and playing our game. So that was kind of like the mindset that we had.
Two more. You've talked about being detail-oriented before. Over the last number of weeks, do you feel like that's taken a step up?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, with Ty getting more comfortable in his play style and how he's handling the offense, I'm sure everybody feels that confidence from him, and everybody's kind of elevating his game and he's elevating ours. So just kind of like implementing those details. We don't want each other to fail. We want to lift each other up and kind of have a lot of trust in each other. So I think that goes a long way with our success.
LT talked about not being satisfied until he wins the national championship and not really celebrating anything. How do you balance that though, and maybe not be able to enjoy the season and play a little bit loose? How do you kind of balance between not overlooking your opponents, but then also not being too uptight?
Yeah, I mean, I think playing at this level, everybody has their own way of handling success. There's some guys who, I mean, handle it different than others. There's some guys who hang out with each other after the game. There's some guys who like to be at home alone. There's stuff like that. But, I mean, everybody handles their success very differently. And playing at this level, you got to know that next week is going to be the same battle that you fought the previous week. So it's going to be a long, tough season. But, everybody handles their success differently, and nobody's really uptight. And if somebody is uptight or, getting too loose, and the team will check it.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Josh.
Appreciate y'all.